I proudly present to you Academy Class 126. Please stand as the Tulsa Police Honor Guard will now present the colors. Hey! Singing the national anthem is Miss Denisha McCarter.
Please head up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready? Post. Ready? Face. Got it.
Presenting the Pledge of Allegiance is Apprentice Police Officer Mackenzie Spears.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance Thank you.
Upright, head.
Tulsa Police Chaplain Reverend Danny Lynchard will now lead us in the invocation.
Just wanted to mention the lady that sang the national anthem is the mother of APO Adrian. Did a wonderful thing. Reading from the old book of Judges, and evil people prevailed against God's people and caused them to live in fear and hide in the mountains and in the caves and in strongholds. And they invaded the land in such numbers it was impossible to count them. And the Lord said to Gideon, select an army. And Gideon chose 32,000 soldiers. And the Lord said, dismiss all the fearful and weak. And 22,000 went home. And God said, there are still too many. Send away all those who, excuse me, send away all those who are untrue, inattentive, and do not take their job to heart. And I'm sorry guys, the light is bad for me. And 9,700 went home, leaving only 300. And God said, with these few, I I will save my people. For I will give them wisdom above weapons, and valor in the face of fear. And Gideon's army completely defeated the enemy. Our Heavenly Father, give Gideon's army a chosen few, chosen by you. Give them the courage of David to stand against the Goliaths of our day. Give them the wisdom of Solomon to be fair to all people, regardless of race or religion, wealth or poverty. And give them the compassion of the Christ so that they may become an extension of your hand of healing in our community. May the power of your presence strengthen them. May the blessings of the Lord overtake them. May your angels encamp round about them to keep them safe. Amen.
Please be seated.
Take seats.
Begin on Major Mark Morshauser Jr., and I'd like to introduce to you those on stage. City of Tulsa Mayor, the Honorable G.T. Bynum, Tulsa Police Chief, Wendell Franklin, Deputy Chiefs of Police, Jonathan Brooks, Eric Daglish, and Dennis Larson, and Assistant Training Director, Captain Wes Phelps. Thank you for coming to share in the graduation of these Apprentice Police Officers to Sworn Police Officers. Before we continue, I'd like to recognize those representatives from city, state, and federal governments who work with Tulsa Police Department on a daily basis to keep this community safe. Prior to this actually starting, Congressman Hearn's office was here and presented all Apprentice Police Officers with an accommodation from his office. Also here in the crowd is Clint Johnson, U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Oklahoma, Steve Kunzweiler, District Attorney for Tulsa County, City Councilors Jeannie Q, Chris Bangle, and Jamie Fowler, Karen Gilbert, Executive Director of the Crime Prevention Network, Tulsa Fire Chief Michael Baker, Chiefs of Police from Broken Arrow, Brandon Berryhill, and Chief of Police from Nowata, Mike McElhaney. Also federal law enforcement officers, Doug Farrell, resident agent in charge for United States Secret Service, and FBI acting assistant special agent in charge, Joe Ogden. To these agencies and other area law enforcement agencies that work with us on a daily basis, as well as the friends and family of TPD that support us, thank you. Seated in front of us are the newest 17 Tulsa police officers. These officers have completed 30 weeks of rigorous training that began back on May 22nd. Before they could even start the academy, these officers went through an intensive background process that lasted anywhere between 6 months to a year, and it was highly competitive. Once in the academy, they've completed almost 1,100 hours of instruction on different topics such as firearms, law enforcement driver training, report writing, and officer survival. While these topics have always been basics of a police academy, the modern police officer must be so much more. That's why we've also given them instruction on numerous hours of de-escalation, community policing, responding to those in mental health crisis, reversing opioid overdoses, and doing all of this while documenting it on body-worn cameras. We've expected them to be more than just those that take people to jail. We expect them to be modern police officers. We've also expected them during their time in the academy to develop a relationship with their community, to become leaders, and they have responded. This class participated in No Shade November, which raised money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital for cancer research, and also participated in a community dinner hosted by Tulsa Metropolitan Ministries, bringing faith-based communities together with Tulsa police officers. These men and women have demonstrated the dedication expected of them and expected of modern law enforcement while in the academy, both through academic achievement and community engagement. Upon graduation, these officers will transition to officers in training and complete a 16-week field training program with seasoned officers throughout the department. Finally, upon completion of the field training program, almost 11 months after they started the academy. These officers will be assigned to one of our 3 uniform divisions as patrol officers, and I know they will continue on their record of excellent performance, community engagement, and leadership. Although there are many similarities between recruit classes, each one is unique. The class review tells the story of the special experiences and highlights of each class. Class 126 has selected APO Brittany Bax to present their class review.
Good morning. My name is Brittany Bax. I have been selected to give the Academy Review for Class 2023-126. First, I want to address 3 crucial elements that the city has paid for over the last 30 weeks. Number 1, instant polish from Boot Barn is essential for surprise uniform inspections. For less than $5, your boots will be able to meet the expectation to shine like justice. Number 2, the sound of your coordinator slurping coffee at 0700 formation 3 inches from your face is almost as terrifying as it is uncomfortable. Number 3, if you thought you were going to bring a nice crock pot meal for yourself for lunch, congratulations, you're now sharing with your entire break room. Full disclosure, although these points are valid, we didn't care about our boot shine when the whole command staff was watching us after we were pepper sprayed and our instructor was dressed in a fight suit and gas mask, ready to make the day even more memorable. The point I'm trying to make is there are things in this academy that PowerPoints can't show you and instructors can't teach you. One thing that stuck out to me is something Lieutenant Hirsch said the day after pepper spray. He stated, "We cannot inflict physical pain on you. We cannot touch you or hurt you. As coordinators, we can only stress you out and get in your head." One of the reasons we have you get exposed to things like taser or spray is to see something in you that otherwise we as training staff would never see. We get to see who has it in them to keep fighting and finish the job. Lieutenant Hirsch concluded this by stating, "There are days that are going to suck. Days that you aren't going to want to tell your family, or days that drain everything out of you. But you have to be able to get up the next day and give your best to the next person who needs you." Here in a few moments, you will witness 17 cadets swearing to give you their best every day, even if their best costs them everything. Since May 22nd, Class 126 has trained in a variety of circumstances. Instructors have taught us everything from basics to more advanced investigation techniques. Most importantly, each one of us is trained to assume the fight is never over. On a lighter note, I can stand here today confident in the fact none of us have ever done anything like this before. None of us have experienced a brotherhood like the one made throughout the academy. Part of this is due to the fact that at some point, every single one of us had to rely on another. The other part is forced, just like when your parents make you hug your son. However, it never mattered how frustrated one would become with a fellow classmate. No day ended without a group of us standing by our cars laughing about the day's events. Laughing about who screamed the loudest during taser, me. Laughing about who spun out the worst during LEDT, Perez. Or finally, laughing about who would be the next one to force a policy change. But I'm going to save that one between class. Overall, the men and women in front of you have endured months of state-of-the-art training, from driving, fighting, shooting, and searching, to taking pictures, fingerprints, active listening, and community engagement. These 17 have learned what it means to embody servant leadership. Thank you, coordinators, instructors, command staff, and community leaders for providing an exceptional and immersive training experience. And finally, thank you to those of you who are here today supporting your cadet and the Tulsa Police Department.
Each class is directed to create a guidon to represent their class. This Tulsa dates back to 1995. APOs Spencer Keck, E. Mikkel Bywaters Jr., and Alicia Cruz will now present the Guidon for Class 126 and explain its special meaning. At the conclusion, they will pass their Guidon to one of their class coordinators so that it may join in display at the Academy.
Ready, face. Guidons have historically been used on the battlefield to distinguish units from one another. Where the Guidon went, the unit followed. Although Tulsa Police is not a military unit, the department has used Guidons distinct to be one class from another. And each individual class designs their own Guidon. Class 126 Guidon is on a field flag with a subdued American flag to show the past devotion to the laws of the nation. The class motto is located to the viewer's left on the Guidon, and the motto reads "Suis Honti," which in Latin means "under on the court." The TPD badge in front of the downtown Tulsa skyline symbolizes the willingness of every Tulsa police officer to place citizens of Tulsa above ourselves. Thank you. Ready, face. March.
For each Academy class, the Fraternal Order of Police Auxiliary recognizes with awards the Academy Top Scholar and Top Marksman. With us today, please welcome to the stage FOP Auxiliary Representative Cassandra Newman.
Good morning. As President of the Tulsa Fraternal Order Police Auxiliary, I am here to present two awards, the Top Marksman Award and the Jared Shoemaker Top Scholar Award. The recipient of the Top Marksman Award being presented today is Derek Lewis. The Top Scholar Award is in memory of a previous recipient of the Top Scholar Award. Officer Jared Shoemaker was hired at Tulsa Police Department on January 3rd, 2005. Following his academy and field training, he served as a patrol officer and then was called to active duty by the United States Marine Corps. Corporal Jared Shoemaker was killed September 4th, 2006 in Iraq. The recipient of today's Jared Shoemaker Top Scholar Award is Jonathan Burnett. The auxiliary motto is "Never let them walk alone," which we believe includes the officers as well as their family members. We invite all adult family members of lodge members to join the auxiliary. We are also the current reigning National Auxiliary of the Year. Do not hesitate to contact me for any reason. We need to know each other before we need each other. Congratulations, welcome to the family, but most importantly, be safe.
Upon graduation of every class, the Tulsa Police Academy recognizes the top APO as the honor graduate. This APO has achieved the highest of average scores across a wide range of different training, including firearms, law enforcement driver training, academics, and physical fitness. This APO is truly at the top of the class. The honor graduate for Academy Class 126 is Jonathan Burnett. It is my pleasure to present to you the Mayor of the City of Tulsa, the Honorable G.T. Bynum.
Thank you very much. I was just asking Major if you all know who's going to win those awards beforehand. He said, no. I'm very impressed at how stoic you are coming up here and getting recognized in that way. No fist pump or anything. You know, this is a job, I'm in my 7th year now as mayor. And in this job, you get to do a lot of pretty remarkable things. Yet there is only one thing that I do that every time I get a chill down my spine and get choked up. And it happened again today, seeing the 17 of you walking down that aisle to start this profession. And so I'm here on behalf of 400,000 of my fellow Tulsans to thank you. Thank you for the career and the profession that you're pursuing. And I think the reason I get emotional when I see you all entering this line of work is because I think about the righteous path that you're on for the rest of your careers. This isn't a job, as you well know by now. It is a career. And I think about all the people that are out there in this city right now, going to school, living with their families, trying to make ends meet, excited for the holidays, getting ready for Christmas. There's people out there today who have never heard your name, and you're going to save their life someday. Or you're going to save them from a criminal, or you're going to save them from themselves. It's amazing. And so I just want to thank you so much. Your profession that you're entering into, it has never been more challenging than it is right now. There are a whole lot of people out there that do not have the selflessness and the courage to pursue the career that you are. That makes you extraordinary. So again, I want to thank you. I also, though, want to thank all of you, because folks like this don't just fall out of the sky. They come from extraordinary families with extraordinary values. That's the only way that somebody ends up in a law enforcement career today. So I want to thank you for the support that you have given them to this point in their lives, and for the support that you're going to give them as they save the lives of Tulsans moving forward. I also want to thank our chief. There's a lot of pressure, you might imagine, in the current climate to lower the standards for accepting people into the Tulsa Police Department. When we know how many more officers we need to hire, but it's so challenging right now to find the right people. There's a constant drumbeat out there that, well, let's just lower standards and then we can get more people in. And Chief Franklin, every time that comes up, says, no chance. If you get accepted into the Tulsa Police Department Academy, it's because you're one of the very best in the whole country. And that is not going to change. And that keeps us a safer city moving forward. I also want to thank the Academy staff, who have brought all their years of expertise to make sure that when you go out there to save the lives of my fellow Tulsans, that you're prepared to do that, but also to protect yourselves and to do your job safely. If there's one thing that I hope you leave here with today, it's to know how much this community supports you. There will be times in your job where you might feel like that's not the case. When there is a loud entity on social media or whatever that makes you feel like Tulsa doesn't support you, I can tell you that is not the case. You heard earlier today about our city councilors who are here. I think it's important you understand the support that you have from the elected representatives who those citizens elected to represent them in our city government. The city council and I have been focused the entire time that I have been at the city on making this the best place it can be for Tulsa police officers. Just in the last, you heard about Counselor Gilbert. Counselor Gilbert led the effort to get a public safety tax passed so that we could hire more officers and to make sure you have the equipment that you need. Just in the last few years, Counselor Q, Counselor Fowler, Counselor Bingle, and their colleagues and I worked to put through the largest pay increases in the history of the Tulsa Police Department. Because we don't want you to just come work here because you love Tulsa and sacrifice pay. We want it to be competitive with anywhere else that you could look at. You're making enough sacrifices and your family's making enough sacrifices as it is. We don't want your income to be another part of that. We've also funded the establishment of the Real-Time Information Center. What I'm told is the biggest advancement in the TPD since we put radios in cars. That is going to help you do your jobs more safely and more effectively moving forward. We are laser focused on making sure that you have all of the technology you need and the best facilities available. We just toured earlier this week the Real-Time Information Center so that when one of you becomes chief of police someday, you're not ending up like Chief Franklin was, turning on the faucet and having brown water come out in your office. It is a facility that reflects the reverence that the citizens of Tulsa have for the men and women in the Tulsa Police Department. We're focused right now, just us on this campus, on building a new facility for our helicopter unit so that it's always there and easily accessible and reliable. We're always thinking about what else can we do to make this the best place for you to work. And so I want you to know that door is always open. Whether it's with the chief or with the city councilors or the mayor, if there are things that we can do that you know will make this a better place for you to work, we want to know what those are so we can do those too. Because at the end of the day, none of us go out and arrest the bad guys. None of us respond to the 911 call for assistance. You do that. Our job is to serve you and make sure you have all that you need to do your job safely and effectively. So again, I want to thank you on behalf of the 400,000 Tulsans that I represent, the million in our metro area. Everything that we aspire to be as a city starts with the work that you're going to do for the rest of your careers. Kids can't get a good education if they're not safe. Our economy will not thrive if the rule of law does not prevail in Tulsa. Everything that we want Tulsa to be, the place of opportunity for every Tulsan, it only happens if it's a safe city with a great police department. And I'm really thankful that we do have one, and you're going to help continue that tradition. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Please welcome Chief of Police, Wendell Franklin.
Well, good morning. Yep, you're going to have to do better than that. Good morning. Good morning. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you all for coming out for this class, for this graduation. I want to first start off by saying, Kasha, I saw you. The deputy mayor walked into the back, Kasha Carr, so I also want to point her out as being a great supporter of law enforcement as well. Also, I want to recognize if you have served this great country of ours through military service or as a police officer, would you please stand? Thank you for your service. I also want to point out the command staff of the police department on my right here that really leads and guides this department forward. And the next level of leaders, they're already leaders, but they will continue to progress up the ranks and be a part of this department, integral in moving the department forward. So thank you for them. Also, I see the workhorse the ones that your loved ones are going to be passed off to, sitting over here on the bleachers, are field training officers. Just a small snippet of field training officers that your loved one will be connected with after they graduate here today. Guys, would you please stand, men and women there? I see you. I know you don't want to be recognized. Thank you. Also, the fire chief is up there, and he's got his notepad out. He's learning how to run a graduation ceremony. I also noticed, I think he brought a lunch pail in or something, because he thought this was going to be a 2 or 3, 4 hour ceremony like his are. We don't do that here. Chief Brandon Berryhill is here from Broken Arrow Police Department, but he tells me he's here to represent the Council of Law Enforcement Education and Training. I don't know if that's true, but I don't want any of you meeting with that guy after you graduate today, okay? Same way with the federal partners in the back there, the FBI and the Secret Service. I don't want you guys talking to them either, because they will snatch you up in a heartbeat as well for their agency. So you are a Tulsa police officer now. It seems like we've really gotten to know each other over the past, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, however long you guys have been in the academy. And you know, we've actually gotten to know each other so well that we had a conversation about hair. Some of you recall that. McCarter, you recall that conversation we had at the community dinner, and we talked about how to, you know, how we get the waves in our hair. And at one point, they looked at me like I was crazy, but at one point I did have hair, and I have photographs of me with hair. And yes, I did. I had a nice fade, and I had waves in it. But I know you all look at Deputy Chief Dennis Larson here, and you think, why is that guy wearing a powdered wig from the 1700s? It is not a powdered wig from the 1700s. It's his hair. He was born in the 1700s. Okay, here we go. I recently had a chance to attend a ceremony, a retirement celebration of an individual who gave and sacrificed a lot for this country. He was an FBI agent. I actually, Mayor, I have to confess, I skipped the state of the city to attend because I felt this individual, I felt a calling to go and be with this individual. Very honorable man who everyone, time after time, when they got up to speak about his service and about him, they talked about honor, integrity. He epitomized that. And he was a steady face for us in law enforcement here locally that really helped us navigate through some turbulent waters. Everyone spoke of just the great work, the great man that he is. When it came time for him to stand up and to address his colleagues and friends, he stood up and all he could do was cry. All he could do was cry. And finally, crackling through his voice, 2 words came out. Thank you. That's what he said. Thank you. After all the years of serving, all the passion that he led with, everything that he had done, he still had the willingness to give and do, but it was time for him to go. This feeling that you have today, that feeling you have in your heart today, what's circling through your mind at this point, remember that. Remember this day. Remember this day. Because when that heart doesn't have that same feeling that it has today, when your mind isn't thinking about how you feel today, then perhaps it is time to move on. So, I know we talked about, I think it was last week, we talked about just how we can, I talked to, I said, who is the smartest person in the room? Who is the most intelligent person in the room? Do you guys remember that one?
Yes, sir.
Yep, and like a good trained recruit, they said, "You are, Chief." But I followed that up with, "I am not the most intelligent person in the room," and intelligence is relative. It depends on what subject matter you're talking about. I'm sorry, Shane. I mentioned the Guidon family, and I said, if I want to know the history of the Guidon family, I'm not the most skilled person to give you that history, right? It's the same way with this department. Not only do we lead this department, we don't consider ourselves the most intelligent beings that we're not above input and suggestions from all ranks and all people to tell us how to do our jobs better. You're the exact same way. One of the easiest things to do is to do police, fire service. Those are easy because we've been doing the same thing for hundreds of years. A person calls, we go, we deliver the service, and we go to the next place. That's easy to do. The hard part is us all working together with all of our different backgrounds and different ways of life, and all coming up from different areas of the country, and putting that effort all together into a force that we can move forward with at the same pace. That's what's most difficult, and that's where a lot of people fail. That's where a lot of teams fail. Tell me, do you guys know Phil Jackson? Chicago Bulls, LA Lakers coach. If you don't, raise your hand and I'll explain. Okay, all right, thank you, thank you. So Phil Jackson led the Chicago Bulls, he led the LA Lakers, he led the Bulls to 6 championships, he led the Lakers to 3, and he wrote a book called Sacred Hoops. In that he said, I vow to create an environment based on the principles of selflessness. The mayor mentioned that just a little bit ago, selflessness. He went on to say, I've learned that the most effective way to forge a winning team is to call on the players to connect with something larger than themselves. I've talked about this, being larger than ourselves. You are no longer you as an individual. You now have this patch on your shoulder. You now have the legacy of every person that's walked in the doors of this academy or in this profession. You now have them all behind you. It is no longer just about one singular person. You got to surrender self-interest. The profession is bigger than you. Remember that. The profession is bigger than you. And when you learn that, when we all walk at the same cadence, the job gets a little bit easier. But what makes things harder are change. We all hate change. Everyone hates change. There's always change taking place in law enforcement. There isn't a day of the week that doesn't go by where something is not changing on the police department. Most of it is through mandates, legislation, new laws, case law. All of that changes the complexity. It complicates our job. It makes us have to redo and relearn new things, new material. You know, the NFL changed the rules not too long ago. Defensive backs, they can't touch the receiver after 5 yards. Kickers, they move the extra point back. Defensive linemen almost can't touch the quarterback anymore. And do you know what happened? They all quit. They all went away. There is no more professional football. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm wrong. Come on, somebody help me. Call me out here. It's not right. It's not right at all. What happened? The defensive backs went back to the defensive backs coaches and learned new ways to do their job. The kickers got more precise. The defensive linemen learned how to do their jobs a different way. Man, when somebody says when they move the needle, we have to adjust to it. I don't know. When Steve Jobs says, let's make an iPhone, I want to make a phone that has no keys on it. They said, that's too hard. And so they all quit. And we all have flip phones. No, that didn't happen. No. They innovated. They found a way to do it. They found a way to do tough things. That's what we have to do in law enforcement. Whenever the needle gets moved, we have to find a way to do our jobs better. We have to find a way. And it's not fun. It's tough. It's tough work. But it's doable. Everything can be accomplished. So, remember that when you go out. Remember who you are. Remember that you represent not just the Tulsa Police Department. You represent all of law enforcement across the United States. And you know what? Every single thing that you do, whether you are in that uniform or outside of that uniform, you are no longer you. You are no longer that person that you were before. If you act up, if you do something, I had someone email the chief's office because they didn't like the way a guy that coaches football for the Little League acted. And that guy was a Tulsa police officer, and they knew he was, so they emailed me. Do you think the accountant gets scrutinized like that? No, they don't. But you do, in uniform and out of uniform. Right or wrong, that's the way it is. We can't go around pulling fire alarms saying, oh, I thought it was an exit. We can't get away with stuff like that. You know, we can't get away with wearing hoodies and shorts to work and saying, this is just me, this is how I roll. We can't get away with that. Mike Tomlin, coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, said, it's not what you're capable of, it's what you're willing to do. I know plenty of capable people, but fewer people that are willing. I got 17 willing individuals right there. 17 of you are willing. There's a lot of capable people, but 17 of you stepped up and said, let it be me. Let it be me. I appreciate you. I know the city appreciates you. So, as we move forward, remember this day. Remember this moment. Remember what's in your heart today, in this moment. And never, ever let that give up. Never forget that. Never forget it. You guys ready? Sure? You're a little bit quick on that, but we'll go with that. Class, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been duly appointed a police officer of the city of Tulsa. And a peace officer of the state of Oklahoma. Do solemnly swear. That I will defend, enforce, and obey. The Constitution and laws of the United States. The state of Oklahoma. And the charter and ordinances of the city of Tulsa. That I will obey the lawful orders of my superior officers. And the regulations of the Tulsa Police Department. That I will protect the rights, lives, and property of all citizens. And uphold the honor of the police profession. With my life, if need be. This I solemnly swear. This 15th day of December 2023.
Right, hey! Up now, hey!
I present to you Class 126.
Chief, it's all right. I made a Bull Durham reference to them yesterday, and it was just blank stare. So I gotta come up with some new movies. Now is the time we've all been waiting for: the presentation of badges. I'd like to introduce to you Assistant Training Director Captain Wes Phelps.
As your officer's name is called, we encourage you to celebrate with them. Cheering and cat calls are appropriate. Class 126, each officer will now come forward and receive your badge. Family and friends of our officers, please feel free to move up and take pictures, as your officers will be called alphabetically to the stage. Brittany Bass. Jonathan Burnett. Jeremy Burton. Nimakel Bywaters Jr. Alicia Cruz. Cody Lawrence. Derek Lewis. Rachel Maddox. Adrian McCarter. Taylor McElhaney. Miguel Perez. William Ray. Mackenzie Spears. Kendall Tidwell. Congratulations, class.
Before we end the program today, I want to take a moment to thank the Tulsa Police Academy staff and the almost 100 instructors that dedicate themselves to educating these officers. I'd particularly like to recognize Lieutenant Billy Hirsch, who served as training class supervisor for this class. Also, recruit training coordinators, Officers Jeremiah Spencer, Jake Literal, and Kara Rogers. These are the trainers who work tirelessly every day to make sure these officers were ready to go to the streets. And as the job of policing gets more difficult, so does theirs. So great job, staff, and thank you. In a few moments, we will close this ceremony, and the recruit class coordinators will dismiss class 126 one final time. Afterwards, we invite family, friends, and loved ones to come up and pin on the badge of your officer. Afterwards, we also welcome you to a reception in the meeting rooms in the upper part of the academy. And if it's not raining cats and dogs, there is TPD equipment and vehicles in the back parking lot, courtesy of Major Luther Brashears and the Special Operations Division that you can check out. But first, to the family and friends of our new officers, thank you for being here today to witness their graduation from Apprentice Police Officers to Sworn Police Officers. They made significant sacrifices, and the challenges they faced would not have been easy would it not be for the support that you give them on a daily basis. So thank you so much. It does not go unnoticed. And finally, to class 126, you have joined us in the noblest of professions, along with hundreds of thousands of law enforcement officers across this country and 18,000 plus police agencies. But you are a Tulsa police officer. You are the standard bearer, leading departments across this nation in trust, integrity, and excellence. That excellence is because we demand excellence from each other, whether it be through high standards or comprehensive training, but also it's because the citizens of Tulsa have that expectation of us, and we gladly meet that. This is not the end, but rather the beginning of your education and training throughout your career to make sure you maintain that excellence. Much will be required of the person entrusted with much, but even more will be expected, will be demanded of the person entrusted with more. Congratulations. Now go serve our community. Class coordinators, prepare to dismiss your class. The final dismissal of class 126 will conclude this ceremony. Afterwards, again, come forward to take pictures, and feel free to use the entire academy, including the stage, to take those photographs. Officers Spencer, Literal, and Rogers, dismiss your class.
Class, attention. Class, dismissed.
Graduation, I'm like, he's going to bring the class in on a rascal. See how well you're doing. Thanks, Mayor. Okay,
Thanks for being here. I'll tell you guys. I am coming.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. Here we go. They're crying. Of course they are. I cried my dad in my bedroom. Yeah, my dad been mom. He's cried. I didn't cry at all. I don't know what they're doing. Do we ask them what they're doing? What? She's doing it for me. I don't know why. It is official. Worry about the flag. I don't know. I've been told that's the problem.